All right. All right. Looks like we're rolling here. So I'll make sure this is streaming. Yep, we're rolling. Okay. Just want to make sure here everything is good before we get started. Okay. So yeah, I make sure this thing start recording here. All right. Well, it's been a long time coming, and here we are. Here we are. We're here ready in about 2 weeks to launch the AI powered family and business operating system. And it's not just any ordinary AI powered system. It's part of a bigger structure. This whole channel, the Principatus Domus Eucariana, is a dominion that was revealed to me, and as I went through the redemption process and ultimately really just kind of some things were revealed, and that was part of it. And so now my job is to share the infrastructure that can help a lot of people, I think, survive in this coming era of technology rapidly changing, particularly with artificial intelligence. And so we have this concept of the house, which is nothing new. It's been going on for since everybody had a house back in the day, and these things have all but gone away because of displacement, war, a lot of whatever reasons that happened. We just don't know. But here we are. We're in the modern world. Everybody's an individual. I mean, there are some fortunate people who belong to houses that have lineages that go back, that they can trace them. But if you're not one of those people, you can start over. We do have that option. We have the technology, we have the tools, we have everything to make it happen. And that's what this is. That's who this is for. Particularly those of a spiritual bent. When you get down to it, if you read the Bible, and follow that, there's a lot of wisdom for running and succeeding in life from a practical standpoint. And so that's what this is based off of. This is based off of that. It's because it's my tradition. You grew up in the West. My father was a Christian. Everybody going back as far as I can know was a Christian. So that's my faith. That's what my house is built on. And this is a system. You don't necessarily have to believe that to use the technology, but that's our position. If you're talking about a house, faith is part of that, belief is part of that. You'll see as we get into it the values that you want to codify. And I can tell you something about having a codex, and that's what this helps you to do. This, we call it Heaven's Family Office on Earth, because the things that we're dealing with are things that are spiritual. They're not tangible. They're things like values, faith, hope, and love. These are eternal principles, and they're called values, by the way, because they are actually valuable. They are the root of all value. What good is your money if you don't have a loving family to share it with, or anybody to share it with that loves you, or if you don't have peace in society, the money is not worth very much because you're spending it all on defense or whatever, or maybe nobody accepts your currency. It's the root of civilization. That's what these values are. We have to take responsibility as people of the world, as houses, not individuals, because the basic governing unit in society is a house. It's a family, and that's where it all starts and ends, and that's where we're focused on. Because nobody cares when you check out of this place except your loved ones. You know, nobody cares that you're here except your loved ones. So that's who this is for. You know, I really honestly don't care if anybody signs up for this, because this is for my progeny. You know, I'm doing this as a service for everyone else. But this is what we're doing. You know, it's a great adventure. We started our own codex, and you know, life changes when you have a covenant relationship. And so that's what we're going to get into with this technology and how you can use it to actually help you do that. So, but let's talk about what you get. With that preamble out of the way, it's fundamentally an AI tool set that I've broken down into, I've made it warmer. I've given it a household kind of situation, because here's the deal. Everybody's house has got to make money at the end of the day. Everybody has got to have tools to run your house today. You've got, whether it be a washing machine, a dryer, you know, a cell phone. These are the basic things that a lot of people have. And this is for the layer of the infrastructure now going into the future. You know, what we have now with technology is essentially you have employees that can work and help run your house, and they can actually make your house into a profit center, like they, you know, houses back in the day were estates. So you know, you can imagine, you know, an estate with all these serfs working on the estate, the people who tended the farm and the cow. And the guy who, the landlord, the guy who was up in the big house or the castle, you know, was a noble, if you will, and you know, he put it all together and gave people employment. Now, you know, we have AI that could be your employee. We have agents that can run your house, and that's what we have created here. We show you how to use it. And we give you all of this for a very low price, by the way. I mean, look at the value on the screen here that we're talking about, a complete business suite. You've got famous AI. It can build apps or websites for you with just, you type it in, you just talk to it. Hey, build this for me, and it'll do it. You've got the Steward's Ledger, which is a full CRM, so you can keep contact with everybody. You know, with this platform, all these apps are in one dashboard and they all talk together. So you can see them all there. You can invite your family members to the same dashboard, and everybody can have access to. So you can have a family black book again. I remember growing up, we all had a black book with all the important numbers in it. Well, here you can have a Steward's Ledger, you know, key relationships for the house. The scroll of accounts. So you could do professional invoicing. Maybe you run a cleaning business on the side, or you know, a lawn business or whatever. You could send professional invoices from your house. You've got many more business tools, and we're adding tools all the time. You have creative tools. You've got AI graphics tools. Any graphic you think of, you just type in the prompt and it creates the graphic. The scroll of visions. You have video creation. You've got music composition, and many more tools. Sacred Governance Suite. Now this is only where you can only get these here. Some of the other tools you may be able to get other places, but we have custom tools specifically to help you to govern your house from a standpoint of faith. And you know, we have apps that help you to, first of all, to create the most important document is a family charter or a codex. This is a covenant, and this is something there's something that's special that happens when you do this. It's a theory until you do it, and when you do it, things get to happen differently. You know, you have a written statement of this is who we are. individually you may have your own individual identities and individual beliefs, but as a house, the people under one roof, can you come together and create a constitution or a codex, a set of values, a succession plan, even how you govern yourselves? And everybody's a government, by the way, if you don't believe it or not. It's just whether or not you formalize it. And when you formalize it, you actually get a lot more privileges, things under heaven that only you and your creator will reveal to you that happen, and things from just a standpoint of actual legality, in the world, operating, in dominion. Man was meant to have dominion, and we've all but given up every single aspect of that in society. But the faith, in this way, they have separation from church and state, by the way, is it's a whole nother realm. And you get your house should be in that realm because it has a lot of protection. And so the tools that we train you on help you to set up your own governance structure. If you're going to have dominion, you have to have rules, and they need to be written down and formalized so that everybody can be in alignment. And this is how you create real legacy. All houses back in the day, if you even just look at the Bible as an example, everybody had a house: the house of David, the house of Judah, the house of Israel. And they all came, most of the Bible, some of the books are just records of ancestors and, maybe some of their deeds if they were exemplary. But that was all done internally. We outsource that in our modern world, but it's supposed to be kept by the family. The outside world keeps a lot of records for us because we have been displaced. We have been, whatever, through history. Different peoples have gone through different things, but it's time to now reclaim what your birthright really. And what's cool about that is if you didn't come from a lineage and maybe you believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior like I do, that means you are part of the royal priesthood. So that's by covenant that you have that relationship. And so when you covenant with that, then now you have literally in Eucharia, me being Prince of Eucharia. That's how that happens, is because of covenant relationships and acknowledging that on paper. And so 3 or 4 generations down the road, it just becomes part of the legacy of the house and the inheritance of those fortunate enough to be born in that lineage. But it can be your lineage. There's nothing that keeps it to me. So anyway, here's how to transform your family in 3 steps. Join us as a founding member. Now, we're only going to have this available for 1,000 families, and it's just $19 a month. After that, price is going up to $97, which is, really it should be a lot higher than that. It's worth $1,000 a month for all the tools that you get, but you'll be able to get in at $19 a month. And then you simply activate your tools, start using the apps, start going through. We're going to be doing training for everyone. So do the training. We'll teach you how to do it. And then build your house. Build your house. Actually do it. Build a codex. Start being deliberate about how you govern your legacy. And guess what happens from there? Once you get real clear on your values, the stewardship of your resources, whether they be great or few, is going to be blessed. It's going to be in alignment. It's going to have much more impact, and it'll be put greater to use because it's not about me. It's about something bigger than you. And the thing that's bigger than you immediately that should be the most important is your family, because that's your literal DNA. Those are the people that are going to handle your estate. when you're gone, the things that you own or the things that are important to you. And the things that are important to you can be, especially if you don't have anything, this is really important because your life means a lot to you. Write it down. Now that becomes part of your legacy. You see all these books about people wanting to record their stories. Well, that now goes into your codex. The wisdom, so that the next generation doesn't have to start from square one. They can learn from your mistakes. And that's what it's about. As you get, each generation should be gaining in wisdom. Wisdom is more valuable than silver and gold because you can, if you know how to make the money, no matter what happens, you can always make more. But the wisdom is the key to the foundation of everything. And so that's what this is about, is what you want to record that down. And these are just this is a model of a governance principles in place. You've got the sacred principles, the patriarch, the matriarch. These are the people who start a house. When they come together, they have a covenantal relationship. They create children. The children become the council of stewards, perhaps, as they get older. And then they have succession protocol. Who gets to take over what? And by the way, the houses that we build here with this AI technology, you own the technology and you have the ability to, actually have it branded to your own house. So instead of Godfrey, it'll be Smith or Williams house codex. And you could be doing the same thing and teaching the same thing as if it's your own. And that's part of this. So now you have an investment in one of the biggest technologies that's changing the world, and you're rooting it in something that is generationally focused. So I think this is going to be huge, guys. I just feel it. That's why I'm offering it. This is like one of those things. It's like, once in a lifetime situation, like where the internet started back in the day, but now you really have a way to kind of give it a context where everybody can use it. And just about everybody's got some kind of side hustle or business or whatever. But what happens when you align together as a house and then now you become part of a bigger network of houses as well? So what money, how do you handle those resources? How do you take care of the next generation? Really, it's the virtues and the values that go beyond the wealth. The wealth, sure, that's important, to have a piece of something to hang on to, but built on something that doesn't change. This is what this is about. Ground your identity. You can't be, I don't care what the world says. I'm still who I am under heaven. Doesn't matter. That's the key. You got to give your family identity. Identity creates authority in the world. And in your house, you create authority in the world through the identity that you take on. That's how you protect it. By having dominion, you're able to protect your house. You can protect your house if your house is a church. The state can't come into there and tell you what to do. It's a church. It's a domestic church. And that's what this is about. You have to have a codex. You have to have rules. This is a picture I took. I wrote a book with Jack Canfield in the picture there, The Soul of Success. Belief of an individual person is like that's the most house, or when it's more than one person. Now you have a molecule, which is covenant. That molecule is covenant. So if your belief is the smallest particle of reality, essentially, your reality is governed by your beliefs. Then when you come together, you form a molecule, and that has real power in the world, is what I found, because I just did this over a month ago, and a whole kingdom has emerged. A whole legacy has just been born. So I invite you all to do this process. Create a covenant creation using a Codex Generator. We have them available in the Householder's Toolkit. And you want to create a seal. A seal is something that is very powerful because it is your proprietary kind of stamp on things that marks your dominion. And the Bible talks about seals all the time. It's something that houses are sealed. In Egypt, I compare it to, the blood on the door of Egypt marked the faithful, and the seal marks the prepared. That's kind of really how I look at it, because it just, it has some spiritual power to it, and it's very cool. But check out some of the shorts on the channel here. Dominion dialogues. What is a house? The seal and the signature. The fatherless empire. I use Machiavelli as the voice there, and those seem to have been pretty popular with people. But yeah, those are great to revisit. We're gonna have a lot of testimonials coming out of this. I can see, and just a lot of people have already been blessed. I could see, just looking back, bestseller lists, and I got special acknowledgement for that. But these are just things you put in your codex, and it's for your progeny mainly, so they can know the things that are important in your life, and hopefully that is something that you want to do, because if we all think about people that we're never going to meet, and we start acting and creating a world that's better for them, then the whole entire world gets better. But it starts at the core. I think that's our biggest impact that we can ever have in life, is to learn how to really, really, really get good at running a house. I mean, that's our dominion. That's what God gave us. It's a natural order of things. If you have a great grandparent, and you grew, and they had most people, they will have no problem, today, if they were brought up right, listening and agreeing that they have leadership in their house, in their family. And that's how it should be. And so, but we need to do a better job at governing and passing on that wisdom, and so that society can get better. And so we're the family is actually the last line of defense. And there's a lot of talk about, we talk about Saint Joseph as the patron of our movement, of the householder movement, because he's been talked about over the last 100 years, and the family has really just been one of the things that the church has been focused on shoring up, because that's the last battle with faith. Ultimately, it's the front line of defense. If families get lost to the faith, then the faith will not be as strong, and it could be in real trouble. So the family is where it really has got to get cultivated. And I think that this household framework is look up all the scriptures in the Bible about the household, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I talk a lot about that in some of the other writings and things that we've done. But just to recap, join in now, guys. We're going to open up the doors in about 2 weeks. I'm still getting some things ready. $19 a month for the first 1,000 founding families. You're going to get a complete business creative suite. So whatever business you're in, it's going to help you to actually run it better. It'll be a nice, comfortable way. You may or may not be using AI, but I tell you what, the world's going to get divided real quick between people who are using AI and not using AI. So you got to learn how to use it and put it in its proper context. And this is the proper context as employee. It should not be made higher than that. You have to still have AI can't decide your values for you. It can't decide, what's best for you or your family. You have to have that kind of relationship and belief. It can't believe for you. You've got to create those beliefs yourself. And but it can help you clarify those beliefs as a tool, as a scribe. It can help you write those things very eloquently and come up with some beautiful documents that you'd be proud to put your signature on for your house, something that'll last for generations. And that's what this is about. You get to create something, and then as life goes on, guess what? You had an insight. You type it into the AI. And it says, oh, this is how you write that. And it writes it beautifully. And you're like, oh, this is great. And so it makes it really nice. So you have heirloom quality writings to hand down. Use it as a tool. It's still your intentions and your thoughts and your essence. But it's just, kings had a scribe back in the day. Do you think they wrote down everything that they... No, they had somebody that they hired to write that. And that's what this is for you. So in this proper context, you've got to keep your household sacred. You've got to defend it. You've got to write things that do that. And you've got to, make your family a stronghold of your own personal testament to your faith and living it out. And we're going to have a community of householders bonded together. I mean, it's going to be fun as this thing grows. I mean, if you want to have formal treaties with other households, because everybody's kind of their own household. They're sovereign in their own dominion. But if you want to connect it and have relationships, I mean, you want to have potential spouses and things like this. And I'm sure this is very prevalent in other cultures. You still see arranged marriages and things like that. But in the West, we have abandoned faith completely and lost a lot of that in a lot of the communities. You may have some pockets here and there, but, so it's a resurgence of something that's been around in this Western tradition for a long time. And I think it's one of the best of the Western traditions because it does focus on the family and in the faith. And so that's what it's about, guys. So when the doors open, be sure to lock in your seat and be sure to check out the website. You can call me at the number there. You can send me an email. Happy to respond to any questions and any feedback since we're still in development. And as you're coming on at this founding member price, it is beta. So it'll be evolving and getting better and better and better and better. That's just the way AI is anyway. But, because it's changed a lot. If you've been using it over the last year, this. But this is just going to get better and better. And by the way, that $19, you get like a ton of vault storage. So even just from if you just need a place to store your documents, it will be worth it just for that, I think. But with all the other tools, the CRMs, the website builder, the phone line, the email, the graphics, the Codex Generator, the community and the support and everything to help you to really get, even if you're not a techie person, I made this very homey so that you can, feel at home with this dashboard. And that's my goal. So hope this was good for you guys. And I'll be doing more videos as we get closer to launch. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon or wherever you are. Signing off, Prince Keenan of Eucharia. Cheers.